Well, hello everybody. Long time no here. No, I did not disappear. However, I really did not realize what the heck I put myself into by adopting a puppy. And what a great puppy it is. His name is Tiger, if you don't follow me on Facebook. But trust me, it was a shock to the system. I had a dog when I was like much younger and I completely forgot about it, right? So as soon as I got over the what the was I thinking phase and finally caught on some sleep, the monthlies, were not possible. So sorry about that, but I guess and I hope you understand. So here we are. Yay. So this particular time we are looking for transition of Aries. I'm going back to actually doing tarot scopes, like not necessarily for a month only, even though technically that would make it easier for me. So sort of like transition 23rd to 23rd sort of a thing, right? Hello Aries, let's see what basically I see over here. I'll be using my gypsy cards or Vera Sibilla to kind of like really check if I get confused at any point. So because not everybody knows these cards, I'll be telling you the cards as they come along. Seven of Sea or Seven of Cups has been reversed in your past, so there could have been some issue. Also you have the Star card also reversed. Could be an issue of that you got a little bit shaken about the path that you're walking on, where you're heading, what you really want to get, right? So it could have been also like a birth of a new spirituality for you. Maybe you have met somebody who could have been on the surface right, but you kind of like felt that je ne sais quoi was missing, and you were kind of like really maybe feeling, well, I don't really have an option in a case. It looks like also maybe that you're going through some kind of like winter blues with Four of Sea, kind of like feeling, never mind these lobsters, I'm so tired, I'm not even chasing them. So just like same here, if the kitty cat is not chasing these bubble baths, by the way, I was just playing with Tiger and this is the game we had, and then I had to stop it because he would be actually eating those bubbles. So I have to find some maybe, non-toxic kind of like things, if such thing exist. So there was like something emotional that was happening and going in your life. I would also say, guys, that you have been going through, look at this, you have all the three earth cards and all of them reversed, and you have the priest or the hierophant, you have the hermit, and you have the devil. So this would be Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. So, and also to boot, you have Earth Kitten. So I don't know if you have been dealing with an earth sign, or this is clearly telling me that maybe you have been thinking, well, I need to kind of ground myself a little bit. I need to kind of like figure out direction, how am I going? That kind of like is a sign of maturity. It is very hard to speak to Aries about, hey, pace yourself, because hey, you're pretty much like going back into where and how you really react, being kind of like this Eight of Fire that we have here, sort of like where you're going to get this month. Here I'm really seeing sort of like that motion. I'm seeing maybe that you overstayed your welcome in some kind of like situation, whether the situation was traditional or non-traditional. You're just going to want what you didn't have. So if you have been in a traditional situation with somebody, you will want out. If you haven't been in traditional and that didn't bother you, now you'll feel like put a ring on it, right? So the Hermit, when it reverses, it basically says that you really didn't figure out and didn't find all the answers that you need. Or was it the devil? I think the demon cat was here, the black kitty. Demon cat reversed is actually good, much better than the upright. So I think it was something like this reversed, or rather like this. See, Memory kind of gets affected when you don't sleep pretty well. So Earth Kitten is really talking about expanding yourself toward people who maybe you didn't think are your pair. That always brings me to that, you know, same thing that I mentioned sometimes. Look, if I really review the boyfriends, and yeah, it was plural, that I had, I'm really thinking that these people would never pass my list. Oh, you have to be this and that and that. And then I just can't believe it, finding myself really intrigued with the guys who were like this big raw guys, which I hate, really. But, you know, these guys were like just amazing. So this is kind of the card that really talks to us about it. Maybe, you know, there's like somebody around you who you do not see as a potential mate. And it's possibly going to be somebody who is going to just grow on you. It's something that's going to come really organically. And this is like really what I see what you need. Because look at this, you have another 7 just on the other side mirroring it here. I think that whatever it was, maybe you're just like simply waking up from the dream. Maybe it was like this long time for the winter blues. But there was like lots of thinking that you have been kind of like thinking lots of thinking that you got caught with not really knowing how to solve the riddle. And the riddle was, what do I want? And how do I want it? And when do I want it? It kind of like always seemed to kind of like steer you in a bad direction. Some of you could have had codependent issues. What does that mean? Well, it's kind of tricky, right? It definitely can talk about dependency itself, some kind of like addictions. But it could mean like, why the freak is this freaking cat getting this bird? Like when you have like kibble at home, when you have food at home. Well, I just want to show it. I can do it, right? And I will show you how to hunt, you human, right? But when this kind of like reverses, we are sort of like understanding our ways. We are understanding what and where we are really heading. And usually it really tells us about maybe realization that we have been dealing with maybe for quite a while, maybe all our lives, with a certain personality. And that was Tiger, right? And that personality, am I going to be allowed to speak? Please, quiet, please. Thank you. Yeah, like we don't have only cat interruptions. Now we have like this protective energy. How dare somebody walk by the door? I'm going to tell them off. And usually, as you know, I read everything. Maybe this is like what happened. Maybe you bark everybody off. Maybe you kind of like had this like really sort of like executive decision. Look, I need to preserve my energy. I need to kind of like figure out certain things. But there's so many things like on the plate, on the burner right now, that I really have to be well organized. And I also need some time for myself. So when this kind of like reverses, you are fully understanding how you need to get yourself out. Look at that. This is actually lovely. You want to get yourself out of a situation where you feel pressured. You want to get yourself out of a situation where you feel, well, you stayed in that situation for bad reasons, whether or not you felt insecure and that you cannot do better, or that you have to somehow earn. But you're going to at the same time realize that somebody hasn't been treating you possibly really well. Interestingly enough, how many majors you have? You have quite a bit of the majors, and one of them is the consequences, right? This is falling in your environment direction, and as you can see, the kitty being all tangled up. But at this stage, because it's upright, everything is falling off. So if you had a situation where you couldn't move forward, interestingly enough, we are still going through Mercury retrograde, right? And that's why you have 7 of Fire over here. 7 of Fire reverse talks about, look, I don't care anymore. I'm not fighting for this. You know, people usually, when they're all talked out, when they're all done with it, kind of like, put a fork in me, I'm done. I came to this conclusion. That's when this card appears. It means, hey, you know, that's why it's one of my karma cards. We are sort of like getting to that stage where things are in balance. So sometimes like we'll go, why are we on the receiving end of something? Because maybe we are learning a lesson that we need to learn. Now this lesson is actually here. So with these two cards with a weight of 2, and this one is about juggling, and I really feel in your case, well, somebody may have been juggling, and that's maybe why we have the demon cat or the devil here. Also, I sometimes see devil over here when people deal with people and circumstances where there is either X influence or a third party. And this kind of like also juggling could suggest that. And you're tired of that. Maybe you have been doing in something unconventional. Maybe somebody was supposed to do something and things are not happening month after month after month, and that's why things were like developing so slow that it looked like they actually didn't develop at all. And hence you felt you had no other options, and you were like tired and getting tired and of everything. But it is kind of like really time for you to kind of like reclaim yourself. And that's why you have this 8 of fire. 8 of fire is going to be your fire nature is coming right through. For those of you who have kitties, you probably know that this is the case at what, 3 o'clock in the morning. They zoom through the place and they have this like urge of energy because they need to get it out. Otherwise, you know, they're not going to be happy, and they don't really care if you're sleeping or if you're in a way, or they have to step in your face. And that's kind of how you're going to feel it, right? So if somebody's coming that is actually intruding you in this kind of like newfound zest for life and zest for going forward, hey, you know what, like it's their problem. It's really interesting because I also feel that some of you will be actually going and starting to date. I also feel that it's going to be really kind of like lovely about that, because you have both 7 and 8 of fire. So it's kind of like one door closes, another one is opening, and it's going to be lots of fun. So I just have to tell you that by the end of the month, you also might not even recognize yourself. I also want to add, as a part of a general reading over here, and I'm not going to do this monthlies long until I fully recover and get enough sleep, that I can see a possible understanding of your career goals. I can see possibly you also redefining yourself differently. Maybe you were trying to establish yourself and build yourself and earn trust, and you feel that maybe you have been used. Maybe you feel that you have passed for promotion. Maybe you feel, hey, it's time for kind of like lifting that anchor and going somewhere else. This will worries me a little bit when the star is reversed. It kind of like tells me that maybe you're entering this month, which is, by the way, happy birthday, a little bit disappointed, a little bit of, you know, kind of like, I really need to rebuild myself, but I have no energy and I have no patience. And you're almost like feeling that the time is passing you by, but that will change, my dear Aries. That will change quite a bit. I really like these combinations. These 3 cards that are sort of like moving us toward kind of like mid to end of April. It's a really good news for you guys. So I pulled one more card, which I really want to talk about, which kind of like I wanted to get a flavor and meditate on before I really start your reading. And you got this card Abundance from my chakra cards deck, right? And this is a card about gold coins, that you only get what you ask for. I have a girlfriend to whom I was a mentor initially when we met. She is quite a bit younger than me, I think 12 years younger. And I remember, like, I mean, long time ago when we met, and she's like very confident and, you know, knows what she wants. She is Gemini, if anybody wants to know, but she's a cusp between Gemini and Cancer. So she was crying in my office, what is this? Like, you know, I can try as much as I want, but there is this glass ceiling, I'll never get through it. Like, why do I get this much money? So I said to her, listen, you know, because I have been a manager for quite a while at this stage, I said, you know, there is a difference between how men interview and how women interview. because it's also difference in perception, how men are being seen and women. So men are seen like it's good to be aggressive, but for women that's a big no-no. So you cannot apply the same sets of principles, yes, yet everybody's going to measure you to the same thing. And when I interviewed men, they would always ask for more money than the maximum that it was offered, while women would actually accept even less. So I said it's really up to you to develop your own world and develop yourself. And I really think that is going to be something like that over here. So are you going to be wise, or this wise girl who kind of like knows how to fish for gold coins, or this kind of like foolhardy man, right? Money is a very spiritual thing, and some of you might be going, yeah, crap, cat, you know, money isn't. Just trust me on this one. Do this exercise. Think about money all the time. Just think about money kind of like a warm blanket around you, and you feel in comfort with it. Sometimes people curse other people for, oh, they have more money and this and that. But if you actually wish them well, if you genuinely wish them well, then you're going to see how things are going to flow in your life. So this is also about gratitude. It is about releasing regret and being really, really good with money. But this is also about friendship and wisdom. And I really think wisdom is the key, because it was something intangible that I feel like you wanted to put a finger on it, but it just like it was never defined like that. So when this card shows up, because it's gold, and gold always represents the power of the mind to choose, right? So again, one choice can be foolish and one can be wise. So choosing well can actually involve temporary sacrifice in order to actually gain your desires. So just remember that always you can make a new choice and kind of like go ahead with this. So good month, my Aries. Just focus, just put a thinking hat on your head and move. And I'm not going to tell you move slowly, because it almost looks like that nobody's going to be able to move you for a part of the month, but then the next of the part is going to be like ready, set, go, and it's going to be a rocket motion. So good for you guys, good news ahead, and until the next time, I love you. You know where to reach me. If this resonated with you and you haven't subscribed, please click on the subscribe button, and you can find me on Instagram and on Facebook. Love you, love you, love you. Happy birthday, guys.